Now, can I give some kind of a inside this, like, can I give any where condition, filter condition can we give? So I want to find out the average salaries from employees where ID is, let's say ID is greater than 10. Okay, now let me run it. You see you are getting average salary as null. Why? Whenever you are giving a bare condition, because we have only 5, ID as 5, which is greater than 10, what happens? First of all, it will take the subquery condition, it will do the subquery and check for greater than 10. There is no values which is there with the ID is greater than 10. So that is why it is taking the null value. So that's why it is returning you the null values in the final table. Right? Clear? Okay, so we also call it as a scalar subquery expression, like also I'll tell you later. So up to now, I think clear right now. Can we within the subquery? I want to tell you another thing. We are getting we are taking the values from the employee table only, but can we take within the subquery? Can we take other values also? Yes, we can take. So I'll just tell you like what I mean to say here. ID, I want to take ID, ename, salary as usual. Okay. Now let's say select. I have a table called computer. From that I want to take the model value. Okay. Let's say I want to take the model value from computer C, where C dot comp ID. I want to see like all the employees whose computer ID is based on their computer ID. Okay, computer ID as model from employee. Give an alias. I am always asking you to remember me. It's employees table. You guys are not. Okay. So I think in the employees table. Now you see like I don't have in the employees table I don't have the model computer ID. So in the employee I have this one. So now you are seeing right employee name and the computer also you are getting, computer model also you are getting within the subquery. So is it not like striking you something like inner query, left outer join, those things? The same thing we can do with the subquery inner joins also, right? Are you getting my point? Suppose what I mean to say, let me write, let's go with the left outer join what we have done earlier. Okay, e dot ename, then e dot salary, comma, let me remove salary, c dot model from employee in left outer join computer C on computer ID I want to do computer ID. We run it and you are almost getting the same thing, right? Like you will be getting the same result, isn't it? Are you listening or not? Guys, are you listening?
Yes.
So what do you think? Which one is better? So either like you can do the same thing with the subquery or with the left outer join, but it is always recommendable whenever you in the subquery you can only get a computer ID here, but when you're using a left outer join you can get all the columns from the computer table, right? You can get all the columns from the computer table in the left outer join. So it is recommended to go with the left outer join whenever you wanted to get multiple columns. But when you need to use the subquery, I'll give you some of the examples I can give you. Okay. So I just wanted to tell you this concept that like subquery works as a left outer join as well. Okay. Now I want to get like let me we call it as a scalar subquery as well. Okay. Now what I want to see is like I have a let's go back with the our student database. Okay, you guys remember our student database? We have a student table, marks table, course details table. Wait 1 second. I'll open that. So we have a student table, course ID, and marks details. I want to find out the frequency of like number of students. I'll write here. I want to find out the student name and how many courses he registered, course count. I want to get the student name and the course count. How you can do this one? We can do it with the subquery. Let me write it. Select first name, comma, and I want to get the count of the courses, right? So what you'll simply you will write a count of course ID, because in this table like course ID is the primary key. Okay, you can based on this like you can do the count. What is the table name? Marks details, right? So from marks underscore details m, where, and you need to use a where condition. Why? You need to get each student how many courses he registered, right? So from the marks details you have a student ID, and in the student table also you have a student ID. Here it acts as a primary key and foreign key here. So a primary key here. So you can, it's a primary key here, parent and child relationship. You can just remember, revise that. And I'm taking like s dot student ID equals to m dot student ID in the marks table, and as course count, to give it as a course count. So you know from here it will be a subquery, inner query, and you need to write a outer query for this particular part, right? So from again you will write student s. Is it clear? Now if I run this one, I'm getting Damodar has registered for 2 courses, John has registered for 1, Manju registered for 1, and Jack did not register for any of the courses. Okay. But guys, the same thing can we do with the left outer join? Let me write. We can do the same thing with the left outer join.
Yes.
So s dot f name, how you will write count of course ID, course count. Okay. From student table is left outer join with the marks table, marks underscore details. M on, just copy from here. And what you need to get from each
like you need to get the count, right? Like it's an aggregated function, right? Like suppose if I run this one, do you get it? You will be getting any rows? No, because you are using aggregated function. So you need to use a group by function. So I have to use a group by function. So I'll be using group by what? M dot student ID, comma, S dot student name. This first name. Now if I run this query, you're getting the same result. Is there any difference between these two? Like you don't see any difference, but yeah, you can do it in both the ways. So until now, like I was telling you, like using Scalar subquery is like I'll just summarize like what I told until now. So subquery in the select class can refer to columns from the outer query. Is that? So subquery in the select class can refer to the columns from the outer query. So it's nothing but like in the subquery in these things, like it can refer to the outer class. Okay. I was telling you that we can do the joins with the primary key and foreign key things. So we can use a child table in the outer query and the parent table in the subquery. So from the parent table, you can take we can perform the like whatever the joins which we are doing in the left join, we can do the same joins we can do. Okay. So we can also use parent table in the outer query and child table in the subquery. We can calculate the aggregated lookups using the foreign key, these things. So it must like you would be confusing like when I am telling all these things, but when you are doing some hands-on, then you will get to know like what I am trying to say. Okay. So subquery always written say like I'm telling this very important thing. A subquery in select class can return only one row and one column. Okay, we will be using this particular subquery for only single column scenarios. But whenever you want to get the multi-column lookup, then you go for the left outer join or group.